All right, hello, welcome to this Hurricane Ian update. We want to just go over the latest statistics from the National Hurricane Service as well as power outage. And We have it is strengthened again. So here we go. Ian is expecting. So here we are at 11 o'clock. This location is 30.2 north, 79.3 west, 185 miles south of Charleston, South Carolina, about 265 miles south-southwest of Cape Fear, North Carolina. Maximum sustained winds are now 80 miles an hour. That's right, it is strengthened. Actually, I believe it is 85. When I was looking at the weather channel, they had it at 85. Moving north-northeast at 10 miles an hour. And the minimum sun pressure 986 millibars to 9.12 inches. Yeah, this is what the latest one they've got, but I think it's 85 now. I think there was an intermediate where they had it at 85 miles an hour. Yeah, there's the intermediate. So they did up it to 85 miles an hour. You see right there. Minimum sun pressure 984 millibars. And going back to the advisory here, you'll see here that hurricane force winds extend outward up to 45 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outward to 415 miles from the center. A wind of 58 miles an hour with a gust of 64 was recently reported west of the center by a NOAA sail drone research mission vessel. And again, looking at the warning cone, you see these are the areas that it's going to be hitting next. South Carolina. Let's take a look at some of the imagery on this. So let's go to the GOES right now, and we'll take a look at the imagery on this. Let's just move this over to Ian. So here is Ian right here, and you can see, look at the convection there. Yeah, it's actually trying to strengthen again. That's right. And we can actually look at different types of loops here. Let me go to the one that does not move. Let's go to the southeast. All right, so this is the static. It's not a floater, but this is kind of shows you how it's moving in relation to the coast here, and you can see the blowups in convection, and we can change the colors. And let's do this sandwich RGB because this kind of really shows the bright. There's the convection right there. We can also go to tidbits as well. Let's go to that one. So again, you see, yes, it looks a little different because again, you have the dry air on the backside of it, but still, it's a hurricane, and you can see the convection, and you can see where it's heading for South Carolina. It looks like a landfall in Charleston. That's the European. Sorry, it's a little late. European model set. Now let's go and take a look at the current power outage situation out there in Florida. So we'll go to poweroutage.us, which should be over here. Florida, we still have a lot of people without power. 2,238 and 46. That's a big number. And again, looking at the areas, you see the hardest hit areas, obviously those areas that were devastated in southwest Florida, but also in the East Coast too, like Volusia. Places like Daytona Beach have gotten hit very hard, and we still don't really know how much damage has occurred to the power grid as far as on the transmission side, but it sounds like quite a bit. And if we go look at some of these counties, obviously Lee County being one of the hardest hit, you could see. You also have Lee County Electric Co-op as well. So you have different electric co-ops that are. So we can go Lee County Electric Co-op here and get the latest from the Lee County Electric Co-op. All right, because this is the area that has been absolutely devastated. Widespread power outage damage assessment today. So they're just doing damage assessment right now. So they're going to determine where, what has been. Let's see if we can get some information from their Facebook page here. Let's see if there's anything on this. We will be focused on power and temporarily not be able to restore. Okay, so they're focused on power restoration. So that's what we have from them right now. There's not too much information on where the damage is, what kind of damage there's been. So far, we're not really hearing too much about that. If if we go to, obviously the attention has been on Florida Power and Light, obviously, FPL here, which has numerous press conferences here because they're one of the biggest utilities, but they're not the only utility out there. And again, as we go into the power outage map here, which let's see if we can find, where did it go? Here we go. So you can see Lee County Electric Co-op really has a lot of customers offline. You can see 87% of the county there without power. So these are some of the hardest hit counties. Charlotte also, 86% of the county out as well. And we'll go look at DeSoto. That also is 64. So it looks like they've gotten a little more of their customers back online there. But a lot of these counties have near total blackouts. Sarasota, another one, 62%. That's a little better than some of these other counties. Manatee, 47%. Even as far north as Tampa, which is Hillsborough, still got a good chunk there, 23% of people without power. Collier as well is 68% of people without power. Glades County, 52% without power. And then we go into Volusia, which is the hardest hit on the East Coast. And they have 73% of their customers without electric right now in Volusia County. And again, that's quite a sizable amount. We haven't really found out much information as far as the damage to the power infrastructure. They just talk about they're assessing it, so we don't really have any pictures or anything like that to go by. But what I can show you, of course, is looking at these cameras here, Florida 511, because a lot of them are showing old images, and this kind of shows what was going on when the power went out in the Daytona Beach area, for instance. And you can see, look at this one. This is the one I wanted to show you. Look at all that. The road is underwater right there, so that's from the flooding right there. And some substations could have gotten flooded too. A lot of these you can see they're from the day because that's when the power went out, and that was the last image they took as the power was going out across the area. So you see a lot of these are from the daytime, and clearly it's nighttime. Let's see, we've got... Oh, I see, these are the reports. Flooding. So, show video, which there isn't any. There is no video because there's no power. So, yeah, it's the Volusia County, which is the point, kind of showing you. This one does seem to work, though it's dark over there. But just showing you the extent of the power outages here. It's insane. So, again, this is... during the daytime. So a lot of these images were taken during the day before the power, just before the power went out. All right, so again, probably, we don't know exactly the extent of the damage to the power grid. Again, it's kind of, I would like to know, right? This looks like this could be current. Some of these are video cameras, so here's one that's supposed to be video, but let's see. All right, looks like this one is working. So I guess there is some power in this spot, I guess. But now we're further north out of Daytona Beach. So once you get north of Daytona Beach, then you start seeing power again. Palm Coast, yeah, looks like there's power there. So it's Daytona Beach got hit very hard. It's not just the southwest coast. It's a lot of areas. All right, it's a lot of areas. If we go look at Orlando here, make our way into Orlando, and these probably are working. Yeah, looks like there's power there. They weren't hit as hard, but if you go down into the areas that were hit hard, again, toward, if you go further south, Thornton, you can see, look at all these road closure maps. So this is all flooding. There's all these things are just flooding, all right? And I'm sure none of these work. Wow, that one actually works. I can't believe it. It's dark though, so I don't know if they got a battery for it or what. But yeah, this whole area here is like, these are the hardest hit areas down here. They got hit. As we make our way down into the Fort Myers area, none of these are going to work. Yeah, those are all, look at that. Those are all old images. No live feed on that one. Yeah, no live feed either, because they're all down. No power. Well, looks like there is power over here in this particular area, so I do see lights. So there. Oh, went out for a moment, but all right. There is some power at least. There's some power in this area here, Fort Myers, I guess. So that's kind of interesting that there is some power over here. Because Fort Myers was hit very, very hard, as we know, looking at those power outage maps. All right. Yeah, that was obviously taken when it went out. I'm surprised some of these are working. But the FPL did a good job getting the power back on in some of these areas. I can't believe that there's still power in that area and it's not a complete blackout, but apparently they were able to get the power back, which leads you to believe that some parts, at least, some parts of the transmission grid did hold up over there, which isn't surprising because they do have pretty strong power lines over there. But this area here definitely having some issues. Let's see, this one is working. All right, so there is power over here. But Daytona definitely has some problems. If we go look at the map here of Daytona, you can look at their power grid here. This looks like a power right away right here. And this looks like a pretty... we'll go over here. We'll look at it here. Look at it from here. I think this is all metal over here, though. Yeah, it's all metal. That's all metal. All these poles are metal over here. So I don't think any of this came down, but I think it's just the distribution lines that went down, or maybe an issue with the substation. Maybe the substation got flooded too. It's another, it's not just lines going down, but also substations flooding. It could cause them to go offline. You can see there's an FPL Volusia substation right here. It's a big substation right down here. Their infrastructure is very impressive, by the way, FPL. So I gotta say, on the transmission end, it's very, very impressive. You don't see any wood here, but you do have the wood for the distribution, and that's something they're gonna have to think about in the future. I think the distribution poles need to be metal too. Everything's got to be metal. Everything. Same thing here on Long Island, of course. Everything needs to be metal or concrete or something that's hardened. But yeah, this is one of the substations. Looks like there's another line that comes. There's a lot of lines that come into the substation over here. There's another set of lines that come in from this direction. So I'm surprised that I'm going to look on the map and see if there's power in this area, because this should have been able to withstand it, unless the substation got flooded. Let's go back to the map here. Florida 511. And let's look for Daytona. Here's Daytona. Okay, so we got to see where that substation is, and then kind of look at it on the map and see. So we're just doing some like power grid, assessment things. All right, so this is east of the Florida, east of 95, North Williamson Road. So let's go over here. I mean, it was a Category 1 hurricane. Should have been able to take it. All right. All right, there's the substation. Okay, so there are no cameras that happen to be right by the substation. There's only this one, which, yeah, doesn't show anything, obviously. But it might have flooded. This area might have flooded. I do see a road closed here due to flooding. This is, yeah. No, it's debris on the road. So we'll have to see what happens if the Volusia substation, she did go down or not. We don't know. Not getting much information from FPL on that, on what parts of their grid have been damaged. But again, these are all images from before the power went out, so it leads me to believe that maybe the substation got flooded. Possibly. It's possible it did. This is where it is right here. So we don't know if it's in a low-lying area. Maybe it did get flooded. I see this looks kind of low-lying over here. So we don't know if there was flooding or not. But it says FPL Volusia substation. And we don't know exactly what happened. But this substation may be offline. And if that's the case, that could explain why it appears at least that all of Daytona is without power right now. At least I can't find any cameras that indicate that there is power in Daytona. But maybe there is. But anyway, let's go look at some of these other utilities here. We have the Peace River Electric Cooperative. All right, so these are some of the updates they've restored here. They have some press releases, so let's go to their media releases here. Damage assessments here going on in this area here. So they're getting a lot of line workers in place here. And this is their restoration that they've restored 30,000 as of 8 p.m. Of course, that's one of the electric companies. And then we have Tampa Electric, which is another. I mean, everybody talks about FPL, but there are other electric companies in Florida. The media is so fixated on FPL. But there are other. There's also Tampa Electric, which also serves, I believe, part of Tampa Electric is also serving serves part of the Tampa area, I believe. I mean, not part of the Orlando area, I think. So let's see. Let's look at their outage map. It's probably not working. Some of these outage maps have been taken offline. I know FPL has. Okay, so there's their outage map. All right, so you have the total amount of customers out, 222,164. And you can see it's mostly on the west side of Tampa. So leads you to believe this is not there are no transmission outages, but there are probably all distribution-related outages here. These red dots here that you see. FPL does not have an outage map up. You can go to FPL. I don't think they actually have one. Let's see if we can. Here's FPL. Let's see if we can. Let's see if there's an outage map. I don't think they actually have an outage map here. Unfortunately, because they just took it down because they feel that it's not going to provide reliable thing. But this is okay. Continue. Let's see. Let's view the outage map and see. Yeah, there is no outage map. This just shows their service area. So this kind of shows their service area and who they serve. You can see around Orlando and Tampa. Those are different electric companies. You have Tampa Electric, which I think serves Orlando. They serve a good part of Orlando. Actually, is Tampa Electric. It appears. I don't know that much about the alert, but either way, you're not really getting any numbers all right. They're talking about the amount of customers out. In the county, in Volusia County, right there, hit very hard, of course, by the power outages, as well as Sarasota County as well, dealing with a lot of outages. We'll have to see, about their whole transmission system and see what's going on, what kind of damage there is. But we just don't know yet. So it is late. It's 2 o'clock. So you know what I want to do? I want to go. Part of the reason why I did this update is so we can actually go back to the National Hurricane Center and get the latest from the National Hurricane Center and see what's going on with this storm. So if I can find it in here. I have too many tabs open, and it's really confusing. This is another power company here too, Lee County Electric Cooperative as well. That is, I don't think they have an outage map available here, but they've also been hit very hard as well. But we gotta have too many windows open, so let's close some of these. It's getting way too much in here. There is again the monster that caused all this mess. Hurricane Ian. So let me go to the NHC, and we will go and get the latest here. Hopefully they've got the 2 AM advisory. Yes, and it's 85 miles an hour right now. So it has strengthened to 85 miles an hour as of 2 a.m. All right, so this is the latest here is 2 a.m. This is why I started this, and I'm kind of, talking because I want to get the latest update to you before I wrap up this video. Its location is 30.3 north, 79.2 west, about 175 miles south-southeast of Charleston, South Carolina, 260 miles south-southwest of Cape Fear, North Carolina. Maximum sustained winds are 85 miles an hour, moving north-northeast at 10 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure, 984 millibars, 29.06 inches. We've got the hurricane warnings in effect for South Carolina. And tropical storm warnings for North Carolina as well as the shores of Georgia. 2 a.m., the center of Hurricane Ian. Ian is going to be approaching the South Carolina coast today, and the center will move further inland across the Carolinas tonight and Saturday. Maximum sustained winds are near 85 miles an hour with higher gusts. Little change in strength is expected before Ian makes landfall later today, and then rapid weakening once it gets inland. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 45 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 415 miles from the center. Let's go look at the latest observations, and I'm going to wrap this video up. Let's get some of those observations on the screen. We'll go to the weather and hazards map. Weather and hazards data viewer. You can see all the red here. And it looks like, yeah, this is tropical storm warning here for North Carolina. And inland, they have the tropical storm warning, but at the coast, it's a hurricane warning. Let's go to the latest observations out of this area so you just get an idea of what's going on, where the storm is, and the effects it's having as it's interacting with the coastline here. And you can see these wind gusts here, 51 miles an hour, and this buoy is reporting a wave height of 15.7 feet already. The storm surge is going to be pretty bad over here, I got to warn you. So this is going to be pretty bad, and except Ian has ravaged Florida. They are just starting to assess the situation over there, and now it is turning its eyes toward South Carolina, and unfortunately, there will be more destruction, more heartache, and possibly more loss of life from this horrible natural disaster that we've been dealing with. One of the worst hurricanes yet to hit the United States, but of course, we say that, and I know Ron DeSantis is saying this is a 500-year storm, but see, Ron DeSantis doesn't believe in climate change because he shouldn't be saying that. This is going to be a 1 in 10-year storm. All right, this is the new climate we're in, and the state of Florida may eventually become uninhabitable. Imagine a hurricane like this hitting every few years in Florida. How can anyone live there? But that is something that may wind up being the case in the future. It's a very flat state, low-lying, susceptible to flooding. But of course, more hurricanes also could be putting us at risk too, which is a concern as well. As we deal with all these natural disasters, as we reel from this unbelievable situation here, like I said, Ian is now turning its eyes toward South Carolina, and there is going to be more flooding as this thing moves onshore later today. I know it is late. It is 2 a.m., but I wanted to make sure I had that latest update for you. So, have a good night.